Whitehaven versus Oldham. Very interesting fixture ahead this one. If Oldham win, obviously they'll go into the top spot. So you're the League One expert. What do you think?
I think Oldham are the most impressive attack I've seen all season, and I think they will get. I think they should do this against Whitehaven. I think they're doing fairly well on the injury front at the moment as well. So I think Scott Naylor's boys will do it. I'm
going to tip Whitehaven at home. Home field advantage, and I think they've got some strike potential in those wingers that really changes the field position for them at times. Women's Challenge Cup semi-finals next week as well. So we've got St Helens versus Leeds and Wakefield versus Castleford. Both those two games going on next weekend. So try and get down to them if you can. And NRL Brit Picks, abbreviated round of NRL again this week. Thursday 10:50, the Dragons versus the Storm. We won't be seeing James Graham, who's donated his brain to medical research, because you can't play without a brain, and also Gareth Widdop still injured. But see how the Dragons get on in there without the two Brit boys go in there. And Friday 10:55 a.m. West Tigers versus the Roosters. See if Ryan Hall can get back in that side because he didn't play last week. But yeah, any games you watch over the next week, follow, go to any you attend, watch on TV, listen to on the radio, etc., etc. Make sure you get your views in on the Google Forms, like we said. If you're not a Twitter user, then send us an email, superleaguepod@gmail.com, and we'll send you a link so you can get your views in. That is it for this show of SLP. All I've got to do is wrap things up for you, Tim.
There we go.
I've been doing a lot of packing rather than wrapping, but we've got a quiz, and that quiz is themed around my moving of house.
Okay.
Yes, so I've got 3 questions for you. The first question is, how many current Super League teams have moved home, i.e. moved their regular home ground, during the Super League era?
Right, okay.
So it's maximum 12, minimum 0. We know it's not 0.
And that's just current Super League teams?
Current Super League teams who've moved their regular home ground since the start of Super League in 1996.
5. 7, I'm going to say.
7 is correct. You want to list off those sides?
Saints.
Yep.
Wire.
Yep.
Hull FC.
Yep.
Wigan.
Yep.
Salford.
Yep.
Huddersfield.
No, they are not one of them. I mean, you got the answer right, so you still get it right.
So it'll be Catalan then.
Yep.
And Broncos, because they've moved about 700 times.
That's right. I mean, Catalans must have played at some point in some guys in the past at Stade Gilbert Brutus, but they started their life in Super League at Stade Aim Giral, is it?
Ah.
Anyway, number 2. How many grounds have London Broncos used as Super League home venues? And I'm not including the on-the-road home games that they've had at places like Leicester,
Orient,
France, and Wales, and stuff like that. Just
Gillingham.
Talking about the main home grounds that they've played at in Super League.
Right, so let's hang on. Let's work this backwards. So Snoop. I'm going to say 6.
5. Unless you're going to prove me wrong. But 5. I have the Valley, the Stoop, Griffin Park, the Hive, and Trailfinders.
Yeah, although because I included the Stoop twice. because they were at the Stoop and then went back to the Stoop.
Yeah. How many rounds? Not.
Yeah. And Crystal Palace.
They didn't play at Super League there.
Was that before Super League? Yeah.
So, unfortunate on that one, but tough one because they have moved a hell of a lot.
And that doesn't include things like Gillingham, Leyton Orient.
No, it doesn't. You're right. Yeah.
25 other places. Yeah, Leicester, Bridgend.
They played 3 or 4 times up at Leicester. They played twice in France before the Catalans were on the scene as well. Anyway, right.
And yet they still play at the same bloody time as. Can you tell I'm annoyed because I could have gone to both this Saturday rather than just. Obviously, I'll be going to the Bears against Scholars, but if they just had some sense of and put one on at 7 o'clock, you could do one at 3, one at 7, get between them quite comfortably. Everybody's happy. But there we go.
Final question.
Yeah.
How many times has the side at the new home venue won their opening Super League fixture at their new place? Now, just to clarify, we've got the 7 teams that moved grounds.
Yeah.
But there's the 6 that have moved home grounds once, and then there's London. So for London, it's gonna be. So they started their Super League life 1996 at the Valley. So the Valley isn't in this question because that was like they'd played half of the championship season before there. So that was where they were at. They moved from there to the Stoop first of all. So it's their first home games at the Stoop, Griffin Park, the Hive, and the Trailfinders for them. So in total, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. So out of those 10 games, how many times did the home team win their opening Super League fixture at the new place? Not necessarily their opening fixture, because some might have played cup games in the early round of the cup. So what's the point of throwing that in? Because most Super League teams win those games. This is a bit more interesting.
4.
Close. 3. So Warrington beat Wakefield 34-20 in their first game at their Super League game at the Halliwell Jones in 2004. St Helens pasted Salford 38-10 at their first home Super League game at the then Langtree Park, now Totally Wicked, 2012 that was. And London beat Wakefield 42-24 at their first Super League game at the Ealing Trailfinders in 2019. Then, famously, Wigan lost their first game, which was actually a Super League playoff game, at the JJB, then the DW now. That was 14-10 lost to Cass in 99. In 2003, London beat Hull FC 10-4 in their first Super League game on the KCOM or KC Communication Stadium, I think it was called originally. In 1997, London lost their first game at the Stoop, 28-24 to St Helens. In 2002, they lost their first game at Griffin Park to Wigan, 32-6. And in 2014, of course, they fucking lost. It was 2014, and that was to Salford at the Hive, 44-18. What have I missed? Salford lost their first home game at the AJ Bell in 2012, 24-10 to Castleford. And Wigan went to Catalans for their first home game at the Stade Gilbert Brutus and won 18-16 on that occasion.
I miss Griffin Park. I mean, it's not going to be around for much longer, but yeah.
I mean, you still go to it.
I still go, yeah. Only for a little bit longer, but yeah, I miss having proper.
Are they getting a new ground?
Yeah, it's nearly finished.
Where are they putting it?
Further down, it's right by the side of the M4, next to Kew Bridge.
Oh,
so there's an old railway siding turning in Kew Bridge. It's going to be quite still. It's only going to be 17,000, and it's going to be quite a small ground. But it's nearly they're pretty much fitting it out now, ready to move in.
Much bigger.
Griffin Park's only 12.5.
Oh well, they're smaller. There you go.
Yeah. So. It's 12.5 at its current capacity.
Okay. Any recommendations? I'm going to say that Go on, what have you got?
I've got two. First one being Good Omens TV show, which is on Amazon at the moment.
Are you sure it's on Amazon and not Netflix?
It's definitely definitely on Amazon, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's a Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman co-authored book. Very good book that I must have read about 15 years ago. It's about an angel and a demon who strike up a friendship, and they're trying to prevent the end of the world, and because they enjoy life on Earth so much. And it's very funny, very well done. David Tennant as the devil, Michael Sheen as the angel. Really good. It's on Amazon at the moment, but it is coming to the BBC in the autumn. So if you haven't got Amazon Prime, then you can wait. But it's really worth seeing. It's only 6 episodes, and it goes through very quickly. It's really well acted and brilliantly performed. So flew through that one when I was away a couple of weeks ago for work. But definitely worth checking that out. And second one will be a documentary that's on the BBC iPlayer called Underestimate the Girl. It's all about Kate Nash, the singer-songwriter. Yeah, so her of
House of
Foundations.
Bricks.
Yeah, House of Bricks was the album. So it's all about her journey away from the limelight, really, and then and where she is currently. It's a really well done documentary. It brings in the music really well as well. So they do a few things to display the music, which you need to sort of watch to understand. But it's really good. There's one absolute corking line in it, which is almost as good as the Bros documentary. I don't know if you saw that at Christmas, but it's almost up there in that terms. But it's a really good story, and off the back of it, Heather and I are now going to see Kate Nash in a couple of weeks, where she's performing at a pool party at a Lido in South East London.
Good stuff.
Which is a little bit bizarre, but it's her and Melanie Black from All Saints.
Oh, okay.
So I can't believe we're going to a pool
together?
party in Brixton. They're just on. They've both got sets
Same
on,
build.
and someone from Radio 1 as well, who I didn't, but she's DJing. So that'll be good fun down there in darkest South East London.
Good times, good times. I don't really have a recommendation this week, although I did enjoy the Glastonbury coverage, and I thought the Killers were fantastic headlining on the Saturday night, and I just think Mr. Brightside is like one of the songs of this millennium, isn't it? It's like when they had a huge.
Is that
crowd,
just our
obviously.
age though? That it was.
Well, they had a huge,
we
diverse crowd watching them, and every single person of those probably 90,000 people or 80,000 people or whatever, every single one of them knew every single word to that song, I'm sure. And I can't think that there's many songs of our lifetime that weren't on What's the Story Morning Glory that have that accolade. I really don't think there is. So that was wonderful, yeah. What have we got next week? Well, I'm moving house. I bought the house, then I'm moving house. So it's going to be Alan and Sarah and Alan, the final co-host combo. To deliver the episode for you next week.
I'm on my way to Wimbledon at that point.
Are you playing?
No, I'm watching at great expense.
Well, this tennis habit's getting pretty frisky on the wallet, isn't it? It's nearly as bad as my house buying habit. Anyway, Sarah and Alan next week. So that's really exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what twist they can put on things, and I'm sure the predictions in particular will be hotly contested next week. You can find the show and share the show at Super League Pod on Twitter and Instagram, facebook.com/Super League Pod. You can email us superleaguepod@gmail.com. You can get the information on the partner sponsors we're going to go through in a minute at superleaguepod.com on the blog post there. Search for the show on Spreaker, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Leakcast Android app, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, rugbyleaguemedia.com, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. Our partner sponsors who we want to thank and want to encourage you to support are Rob's Toy Shop. Enter SLP discount at checkout at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay and get 5% cash back on orders over £5 plus 1% cash back to SLP. Little Warden, who